Welcome then to Eurosport's coverage of this stage from Col du Jaca, covering 192 kilometres today. This race already has tackled the first of the big climbs. We've gone down into the valley over the second category climb, and the riders are now on the Col du Soulor, a first category climb with just less than 50 kilometres to go towards the end. This is the big one, right over from France, over into Spain, crossing the Pyrenees. We've already had lots of action in the stage so far. To begin with, there was a strike for 45 minutes. The riders objected to the fact that Zimmermann was eliminated from the race by the officials. They wanted him back in again. Zimmermann didn't catch the plane yesterday down to Pau. He was supposed to do so. It's in the rules. He missed it, and so did his team manager. Nevertheless, Zimmermann did start today, and the officials were taking no notice. He rode his bike out to start, 45 minutes late. They also staged a protest because they wanted to ride with no helmets on. And certainly about 3/4 of them start the stage without helmets. It's very hot, and they've got some big mountains to climb. The first 8 kilometres were going to be neutralised, but they decided to race that one. So by the time they got to the neutralised end, it was some 37 minutes down on the schedule. But they've been going very quickly since then. The first of the climbs, the third category climb, went to Clavriole. Tunisia was over the top in second spot. Peter de Klerk, looking after his spotted jersey, King of the Mountains, was third. Cardenas fourth, and Konashev in fifth place. Had a little bit of a sprint further on down the road. There's no time bonuses today in the sprints, nor in fact are there any time bonuses at the end of the stage. 5 men prize themselves away: Johnny Veltz, Ruiz Cabestany, Navens, Janshur and Cornelet. They had a lead of some 20 seconds. And there's immediate reaction from 17 men, including the ever-effervescent Abdul Japarov. He went away and joined up with them, and in fact there was a big gathering at the front, who then began to lead to the main pack by something like 2 minutes. And Jerome Simon was there, Arno was there, Mike Carter. In fact, we're going to look back now at this strike when the riders did not want to go. And this went on for 45 minutes. You can see most of them at the front haven't got their helmets on. See Charlie Motti down the front, he hasn't got his on. Michel Denis there without his crash hat either. And so the officials now don't quite know what to make of it. This is not unknown in the Tour de France when riders decide to take things into their own hands. They've had problems in the past when they wish to represent the riders and make a point. And of course, we also had the Tour de France used as protest when farmers have blocked the routes and all sorts of things in the past. So the riders sitting down here, but eventually they decide they might as well go and have a race. Jean-Marie Leblanc on the right-hand side there, somewhat concerned by it all, and in the background too, Albert Bouvet as well. And they decided to clear everybody out the way, and the riders filtered forward. I see that the Motorola riders at least put their crash hats, and in the centre was the figure of Phil Anderson, winner of a stage a couple of days ago. In fact, 3 days ago now, because we had 1 day off yesterday, didn't we? Well, the helicopter picking up this beautiful scenery. It's an imposing mountain chain that forms a natural barrier between France and Spain. Not many tourists get down here because it's one of the rare regions of France still waiting to be discovered. The land of jagged peaks and soaring over top of flower-covered meadows, verdant plains and fields of melons, strawberries and fragrant orchards and tumbling torrents. There's plenty of hydro generation going on here too, with the water falling out of the tops, because when the old snow melts, it certainly puts a lot of water down. But there's a long way back up to Paris, so the people down here are very independent, self-sufficient farmers and isolated mountain valleys. And nowadays, the tranquility, though, of the mountainside is broken by bicycle racing. Of course, many people come down here for mountain walking, fishing in the rivers, and just want to admire the flora and the scenery. But today, there's no way for these riders to admire the flora of the scenery. The chamois, the bearded vulture, the golden eagles are not of their main concern. It's winning the stage that matters. And we've got this little group away at the moment. They are part of that 17-man group that I was describing to you when we picked up at the very start. Simon, Arno, Mike Carter, Hodge, Itterbeek, Zimmermann, Pascal Simon, Özlemin, Fondriest, Richard, Duc de la Salle, Hampston, Luc Leblanc and Stevenhagen were all in that group that went away. And by the time they attacked the Col du Soulor, then that certainly really sorted things out. So the the gap now is 3 minutes 40 seconds for the six-man group. I'll put you in the picture in just a moment because it was the Col du Soulor that did the damage. Abdul Japarov, who was in that leading group, absolutely blew. He just dropped out the back of the pack. The yellow jersey was not with that breakaway group, which at one time was some 2 minutes up, and so Abdul Japarov was technically race leader on the road, but he blew in no uncertain terms. Jan Schur took a pasting, Arno dropped off as well, and in the lead up the climb of the Col du Soulor went Fondrest, Hampsten, Luc Leblanc, Nevens and Richard, with Kabathani chasing. The amazing thing as they went further up, there we are, confirmation now, 4 minutes 20 seconds, the main six-man leading group ahead of the group containing the yellow jersey. And on that climb then, Charlie Motti launched a monumental attack, and as they went up the top and over it, the lead was 5 minutes and 35 seconds on the main pack. Charlie Motti was in between. He was like 4 minutes 30 seconds at the top of the climb, and over in the main pack, Delgado, Fignon, Le Mans, Chiappucci were all together, and they went across the top, but things happened on the way down. This group were going like stink, and so was Charlie Motti. Because on the descent down the other side, Charlie Motti managed, as they hit down the bottom of the valley, to bridge a gap. He was catching all the time, and on his way, he caught a lot of the other people. There we are, picture of the route they're taking today, and they're right up on that climb. As you can see there, the little flashing light showing that we're up on the Col du Soulor, and they're on the foothills of that one now, and all the action then was on the descent. Charlie Motti dropping like a stone, collected Duca Lascelles and Johnny Veltz, eventually dropped them as well, collected Stephen Hodge, who by the way is his birthday today. Stephen Hodge, we probably won't see him, so let's give him a mention, the on-sea rider, the Australian, who's 30 years of age today. It was going quite well actually, Stephen, because he had fourth overall in the Tour Romandie this year where he won a stage, and he got up the mountain in good form, but Charlie not only collected him, dropped him as well. So there's lots of riders splattered all over the hillside going down it as well as going up it, and Charlie was the only one that was going to this group here with Nevens, Hampsten and Leblanc together with Pascal Richard and Motte and Fondrest. So we've got these six men out there at the moment. And along the bottom of the hill, because we came out over the top of the Col du Soulor, there was quite a bit of a run down towards the second category climb of the Col d'Icher. And the main pack closed it right down. At one point, they were in 1 minute 20 of this little group here, and the main group behind then, behind containing another group, was at 2 minutes 20 seconds. So main group 1:20, another group at 2 minutes 20, 1 minute back. And in that group 1 minute back, Gianni Bugno, who's unfortunately crashed and come off, and in fact also taking a bit of pacing today, we understand, is Pedro Delgado back in the second group as well. So in the first group, there is Greg LeMond in there, so he's chasing hard with his Z squad, but at the moment Delgado, we understand, is suffering. Bugno has crashed and been seen by the doctor, so he's back behind that second pack. So it's been splitting all the way. We've got about some 48 kilometres to go. The gap was 3:36, and they've now in fact going a little bit further at 3:40. So this little group then of six riders in the lead, Richard, Hampsten, Leblanc, Nevens and Fondrest, are still on the climb. So it's a very gentle climb as far as they're concerned. We're now looking at Pascal Richard on the front for the Helvetia team. There is Fondrest for the Panasonic squad. There's Luc Leblanc. There is Charlie Motti in absolutely brilliant form at the moment. And Andy Hampsten just behind his wheel. And disappearing off the back then, Jan Nevens. There we are, Jan Nevens for the Lotto squad. So we've now got a close-up look of the six men on this climb. And of this lot, certainly, I'm not surprised to see Jan Nevens sitting in the back. He's going to let these well-renowned climbers do a lot of work at the front, and he's the surprise one in the group, still climbing up the hill, though, and a long way to go to the top.
Eurosport, the Tour de France. This program is brought to you by Eurosport.
And it's Charlie Motti who's setting a fast pace still. Up there behind him is Andy Hampsten for Motorola. They must be very happy, the Motorola people, are picking up this team this year, and of course they've agreed to go on sponsoring it into next year as well, so that's good news for the Americans in that team and for everybody else, proper League of Nations they've got in the Motorola squad at the moment. So the position on general classification in this little group at the moment, Luc Leblanc is the best. He's 4 minutes 22 seconds, so 4:20 down on Greg LeMond. Fondriest is 6 minutes 38 seconds down overall classification. Charlie Mott is at 8 minutes and 14. Andy Hampson 8.25. Pascal Richard 9.39. And Navens is at 14.17. So Navens 14 minutes 17 seconds down is of no great threat to all of them. And in fact, Luc Leblanc is the one they've got to watch out for. The rider in the blue and white jersey, riding for the Castrama squad, third in line in this little pack. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 now. 2, 4, we had 6, did we not? Hang on, just checking again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We seem to have lost one. And I think we lost. We lost. A lot of riders still there. And just off the back at the moment, Charlie Mott has gone off the front. That's what it is. We got that shot of him, and it looks like Charlie has gone and eased himself off. Oh, no, he isn't. That's Charlie down in the middle there. That's Charlie Mott back there, surely. And so we've gathered 5 men. So it looks like we've got a bit of trouble here then, and somebody's suffering. Certainly Pascal Richard still on the front, and oh, this is a fellow, and he's gone off on the front of this little lot. Well, my goodness, so the Lotto rider, Jan Navens, I was saying he was the one who should sit in and let them all do the work, but he's clicked off the front. So Jan Navens, who is really, I think, the dark horse of this little group, because he didn't have any wins at all last year, and he was 4th for Tour of Luxembourg in 1989, so he's really going to try and throw down the gauntlet to these riders. So it's Navens that clopped off and left us. Charlie Mott was still in that bunch, and so Navens it is now, who possibly is beginning to go a little bit quickly. They're up in front. That looks to me like the press cars, and our motorcycle is rocking. No, they've got it back to front. They've got Moto 1 on there, and I'm surprised Navens was up there. That's what threw us all. Sorry about that, you viewers back at home. He's come up to this little group now. That threw me completely, and this in fact is the main pack. Navens is the one that's blown. I'm not surprised. I rather thought he was the one that if he launched an attack, it wouldn't last for long. No disrespect to him at all, because he's not one of the top men from the Lotto team, and now he's blasted off the back. And these are the top climbers we would expect to see in action. And what a fine view there of Andy Hampson back here with Pascal Richard. Of course, these two fighting it out recently in the Tour de Suisse, if you watched our coverage of that. And Fondriest, the stylish man just behind them, ex-world champion. We've got a real cracking group of riders here, all of them very experienced in the mountains. Probably Fondriest is going to sit on the wheels, I'd have thought, and let the real mountain goats have a go at the front, because we've certainly got 3 of them on the front of this field at the moment. And Charlie Mott, the irrepressible Charlie Mott. We had a rest day yesterday. The day before, he won a stage in the Tour, and that's one when he went in from St Campo de San Herblain. They actually averaged a sniff under 30 miles for the distance, 30 miles an hour, until Charlie popped out like a cork from the bottle in the last 1,000 metres and got the stage success. Charlie, of course, is in extremely good form. Already this year he's won the 4 days of Dunkirk. He also won the Classic Des Alpes, which is a new event on the calendar, but it's all up and down and up and down. And Charlie beat the Scottish rider Robert Miller into 2nd place. So Charlie here calling his team car up. I wonder whether he wants to ask some information. So there, Fondriest just behind him. 33rd overall, 8.14. No great threat to the overall yellow jersey. But the man, of course, who is a great threat is Leblanc. Once they get over the top of this climb and drop down the other side, it's some 24 kilometres. It's virtually all downhill. So if they can just stay away, this little group, it can be quite useful. They don't seem to be suffering at all at the moment. This is a long, steady climb. The surface is not too bad at this part. But, of course, the Pyrenean climbs are known for the roughness of the roads, and that tires you out quite a bit. The pounding of the tyres on the rough roads, it gives you like a sort of ride on a pogo stick, but that rattles you along, but it's not too bad at the moment, this part of the road. So the Luc Leblanc, we just whizzed past him. That's the one I've said is the main threat, 6th overall. And the RMO coming up with their team car. We're back now with the chasing group. As expected, we've got the Zeds on the front, and I'm not surprised to see that. And Greg LeMond is also beginning to put a bit of pressure on them. So one of the Zeds up there, and 2 of the Zeds up there. So they've got to do the chasing down of that breakaway. And you can see 1 or 2 of the Helvetia riders beginning to move in. That looks like Gilles Tillion just off the back there. Fignon is not far off the front either, so he's riding quite comfortably. And of course Cravelet and any of the RMO team will not attack this one either, because they've got Charlie out there in front. Charlie's dropping back to have a word with his team car. This long climb up this hill, they got to the bottom of it after the race had covered something like about 130 kilometres. That was just at the bottom after they dropped off the second category climb. And when they get to the top of this climb, they'll have covered 160 kilometres. So 30 kilometres of virtually steady uphill riding all the way to the top of this mountain, which is 1,640 metres above sea level. Well, they start out this morning at 170 metres above sea level. So by the time they get to the top of this one, apart from the other climbs that have been up and down, they will certainly have covered somewhere in round about 1,460 or so metres of climbing just on this one alone. Of course, the first climb of the day, the third category, just sorted them out a little bit, and that Col du Soulor was 1,540 metres. That came after 83 kilometres. So we had one at 83 and now one at 160 kilometres. They're nicely spaced today. Tomorrow we've got some more murderous climbs in the mountains, 2 Haute category climbs and a couple of first category climbs. In fact, we finish at Val Laurent right up the top of one of the first category climbs. So this is really going to sort out the climbing specialists, the men who just love the mountains. And if you look at them as they go past here, you'll see they're all pretty well the same build. They're all round about the same height, round about the same weight. And the big hitters that we've seen sprinting so far in the Tour in the first 11 days, it's been glory time for people like Abdou Japarov and Remig Stumpf, who's about 6'4" and a bit. And also Ludwig, Olaf Ludwig is again over 6 foot. And so the gap we now understand is 4 minutes and 30 seconds. And so that's 4:30 then to the peloton, and a little bit of just 4:20 to this group containing the yellow jerseys. So they're drifting off the front. Yes, looking back through there's a split occurring already. So Le Monde has managed to, with the pressure with the Zs, has caused it to split a little bit now. And so the 4 minutes 20 to the Maillot Jaune and 4:30 to the peloton. Joel de Leon without hat. And there's Tunisia, 141. There's some real cracking climbers in this one, and they're all moving up there. The riders who love the mountains now beginning to show well on the front. Roberto Rondon is up there, and they've got 5 minutes. In fact, it's increasing now from the time check we had over the radio. It has now gone up to 5 minutes, in fact, and that's a very useful group down there, but they're losing out at the moment. And technically then, Le Bon will be the yellow jersey because he was 4 minutes 20 seconds down on general classifications, we mentioned way back. So now at 5 minutes, he's gone back into the yellow jersey. There's Le Monde with his henchmen round about him, trying to pull back this little group. And what a group of riders this is too. There we are, number 47, Mauri Prat, winner of the Tour of Spain when he took the yellow jersey, virtually on day 2 from his teammate, and kept it right through to the end. And we're going to see some of the Colombians moving up there. That was Oscar Quejas Vargas from the Rayalo Postobon team. So the teams here beginning to sort things out, and a nice view close up then of Pedro Delgado, who's got back up that one. At one time he was in a little split group at the back, so he's forced his way up and looking quite calm and comfortable as well. Well, we thought that probably some of the Spaniards might have gone for this one because we've got proper League of Nations in that leading group at the moment. Pascal Richard from Switzerland, Andy Hampston from the USA, Luc Leblanc is from France, Jan Nijmans, who's just drifted off the back, is from Belgium, and of course Maurizio Frondrest is from Italy. So as ever, the Tour de France bringing together riders of many nationalities, and it's a League of Nations up in the front, and they're being chased down at the moment. So Delgado concentrating hard. He's got back in this one. And of course, a lot of the conversation is what would Bernesto do, because they've got Delgado, they've got Indurain, and they've got Jean-Francois Bernard. But Bernard, the last we heard, was blown out the back of this little lot. But of course, riders on this sort of up and down climbing can in fact recover. And so it may well be that Bernard is going to get himself back in the action again and do a bit of recovery work. And there's some good useful Bernestos around there. There's the Bunyo's rejoined the green, white and red. We knew he'd had a crash, but he's back in that little pack at the moment. So Bunyo, not there's Laurent Fignon. By gosh, we've got the real top men going for this one. And Zeds are down to just a couple of riders to help on the front. There'll be no help at all then from RMO because of the work that Charlie Motte is doing on the front. Well, they're not being able to pull this back at all, and so Greg LeMond's going to have to get the whip out with these two up the front. And now LeMond is a very fast descender, and there's a fair chance, in fact, that they will pull them back on the descent. But on the other hand, we saw on that other descent that Motte went away, so perhaps Motte's trying to win 2 stages on the trot. Charlie Motti, no great threat overall on the general classification. He's always ridden well in the Tour de France, and Motti's in the leading group with his pack chasing up to try and pull them back. The gap still ran about 5 minutes.
Eurosport, the Tour de France. This program is brought to you by Eurosport in association.
And these are the riders then who are 5 minutes up on that pack. Charlie Motti on the far side there. And just behind him, Luc Leblanc. Then Maurizio Fondriest. Then we have Andy Hampson, and behind Pascal Richard. They've got rid of Jan Nevens, the other man that was in this breakaway group. They're all sharing the work quite well at the moment. Luc Leblanc going on the front, having quite a good year at the moment. He had a third place on stage 8 in a Dauphiné Libert, and then we went on to Midi-Libre where he had a third place on stage 4. He then topped it on stage 5 by winning that one and finished 4th overall. So he's timed it just right. Midi-Libre is one of those races that many of these riders use as a warm-up for the Tour de France. So Luc Leblanc in that group at the front in good form, and now it looks to me that Benesto are starting to move forward to see if they can peg back that group. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. There's about 24 or so riders in that pack. So we've got 5 at the front and about 24 chasing. Well, recorrect, I got 30 that time. Count the legs divided by 2. Le Monde, well, is he going to do something about trying to pull that lot back, because he's leaving it all to his teammates at the moment, and right alongside him, Eric Calatou, because we knew that Cravilla was suffering somewhat, so the RMO rider who won the King of the Mountains jersey in the Tour de France has been hanging on for grim death, last information we got, but up there at the moment, Calatou is with them. Honda is searching into his back pockets, and in fact abandoning his food. He's probably trying to lighten the load on the way up. Still some way to go towards the top of this climb. Well, for some reason or other, this bunch is beginning to split at the moment, and let's wait till we pick this up, because now that is quite an interesting piece of action. It's Eduardo Chozas who's having a go. Chozas, well, not much contention as far as general classification is concerned, 56 at 9:33. We've seen him in action quite a bit so far during this tour. Chozas, who won a stage last year in the Tour de France, always prepared to have a bit of a go. He was with some early challengers as well. And the rest of the pack behind begin to splinter. I thought Le Monde wasn't driving it too quickly, and so one by one the other riders are deciding it's time that they should go across it as well. So that is turning out to be quite interesting, that the man in the yellow is not forcing himself hard enough to try and pull them back. And yet again, as I said, that we'd get these Colombians having a little go, and for the first time in the tour they're sliding off the front, and this one is Cardenas, Henri Cardenas, the Colombian rider for the Arauco Postobon team. And he was the rider early on. I've just checked my notes about what happened at the early part. We had, yes, he was up there on the first climb of the day. They're now 5:25 ahead, down to Chozas for that group in the front, those 6 men. And Cardenas took a 4th spot on the 3rd category climb to begin with. Looking back to see what sort of damage he's done, and chasing after Chozas. So it's beginning to change, and Le Monde doesn't seem to be winding up. Mind, these riders he's going after now are no real great threat to him at all, so perhaps he's prepared to leave them there. And if they get up there, of course the trouble is if they join that leading party and they've got some strength in their legs, they might well be able to assist in the chase, or assist in the break. Chozas, of course, probably the strongest one of these, and in last year's Tour de France he won stage 13 from Villers-de-Lans to Saint-Étienne. And the pack is strung out. Sure sign then that the speed is going up. Le Monde not forcing the pace at the moment, still with the sort of lead he's got, because Abdul Jafarov, he knows he's got rid of them. He's only got to watch out for Indurain this morning at 2:17, and of course the main danger is Leblanc at 4:20. He's leaving it a bit late, I would have thought, to try and pull back that gap, because certainly Leblanc is technically the overall race leader at the moment. And the gap is still growing. It's only about 5 minutes and 25 seconds. There's little arrowhead on the road. and the heat is intense. The sun beating down, there's very little shelter on these climbs here. There's not much trees overhanging the climb, and so they've got to ride up and up and up. And I say this one, from down the bottom of the climb up toward the top, they've got something like 30 kilometres of almost constant pedalling upwards. The gradients on these Pyrenees, they certainly drag and drag and drag for a long time, sapping the strength, and then try to kick up a little bit more, and then level off again and drag again, then go up again. And that really does sap the strength. Shows us on his way off. Well, on the 5th of July, he celebrated his 31st birthday. There's another one of our birthday boys who just joined us. I said earlier on that Hodge was in the Breakaway group. He had his 30th birthday today. And the Tour de France, you say, gosh, 30-year-olds in the Tour. Yes, certainly. Jaca, 37-year-old rider. He's been going extremely well today because, of course, we're in his home patch, or we were when we were on the other side of the Pyrenees, when we were down in France, because that really was his neck of the woods. And so Jaca, winner of the Midi-Libre, was really having a go today. You need the stamina to be able to last the distance. Younger riders, they often take something like about 3 or 4 years as apprentice, as professionals. They turn pro around about 2021, and they don't start to do much until they're 24, 25. You get the exceptions, of course, there always are the exceptions, but generally speaking, you need experience and you need stamina and strength, and in a race like this one, you need judgment. And these 5 men still at the front, and this is the man, Luc Leblanc, technically the overall yellow jersey on the road at the moment. 4 wins last year when he won the Grand Prix of Valognes, he won a stage, the Dauphiné-Libéré, he won the Tour of Haute-Navarre, 3rd in the Paris-Nice last year. And with about 40 kilometres to go, there might be some chance of him keeping that, getting that yellow jersey. So 3rd in the Paris-Nice last year, 3rd the Tour of Vaucluse. He's got a tremendous reputation, this young man. I say young man at the moment because his birthday is going to be on the 4th of August this year, when he will be 25 years of age. So shows us chasing hard, and shows us about 5:20. The peloton about 15 seconds behind him, and this is the man doing the damage. Known as Lulu, by the way, Luc Leblanc, his teammates call him Lulu, that's his little nickname. And last year with his Tour de France debut when he finished 73rd, and he's up against a man who's got a lot of experience in the Tour de France, Charlie Motte. 6th in the Tour de France in 1989, the bold Charlie. Very great experience in the Tour, and of course came on last year to win a stage. He's won N1 this year, and he's there. 5:20 to shows us, 5:35 to the group containing the Maillot Jaune, where there's something like about 28 riders or so now chasing after Charlie Motte, who doesn't look the least bit concerned, does he? Look, Leblanc is really driving this one along. Leblanc can see every chance of him getting that yellow jersey. He's got to keep the pressure on up this climb towards the top.
Eurosport, the Tour de France. This program is brought to you by Eurosport in association.
Still on the way up this pack of riders then. We're looking at Pascal Richard. Very good all-rounder. This is Luc Leblanc, technically the race leader on the road and yellow jersey holder if he gets down there in one piece, and Andy Hampson, who's come into form just at the right time. And Charlie Motte, my goodness, he's really burst on the scene again this year. Always prepared to have a go. The effervescent Charlie Motte, his wife said that he's always optimistic. Well, he's optimistic today about this one. There he is in a shadow form. So Charlie Motte out of the saddle, and Luc Leblanc coming through. All of the riders sharing the work. Andy Hampson on his way through, because Hampson had quite a good success in the Tour de France in the past. He was the best young rider in 1986 when he finished 4th overall, but prefers really the Tour of Switzerland. This man at the back, probably quite rightly, I think, Fondrest leaving it to what I call the true climbers. He won the Amstel Gold last year, and this year took a 3rd place on the stage in the Tour de Suisse, but not known as one of these experts. These 3 men in front, particularly Motte and Hampson, are experts in the mountains. Luc Leblanc certainly had some knee trouble in 1988 when he switched from, I think it was Toshiba, into Castorama. He found shelter in the Castorama squad. They've let him get himself back in order again, and there he is in the blue and white. Charlie Motte on the front. Already this year, having won the 4 days at Dunkirk and that Classic des Alpes and that stage the other day, he's in tremendous form. Shows us still persisting with his attempt to get up to the group in front, and Le Monde doesn't seem to be able to force the pace at all. If you look down there, his head is rocking slightly. He's really trying to drive the thing along a bit, but there's not the same speed in that pack. I know they're on a slightly greater gradient than we've been looking at the leading group, but they're actually drifting away all the time, that leading group. and their rhythm seems to be that one notch better. Again, sorry about the picture breakup. They have to bang the picture up to those trees you can see, where there is fortunately now a bit of shelter for the riders. A helicopter then picks it up and beams it on to finish, and then it goes whacking up into the sky on a satellite, and all to you good people at home. Shows us with the zip on his racing jersey well down to get plenty of cool air into his lungs, complete with the usual ever-present sunglasses. They're about 5 kilometres from the summit now, the leading group. This group have got to do something about pulling them back. Rondo's there on the left-hand side. We can see that the RMO rider isn't going to do anything to try and pull that one back. That's Eric Caratou. Le Mans didn't seem to be able to force the pace too much either. And there they are. Well, this is going to be quite a turn-up for the books if they can't catch that front group. And look, LeBlanc takes the yellow jersey. We had so many men in the yellow jersey in this tour, being one of the most interesting ones we've had for some time. And certainly this group here, if they can't close that gap on LeBlanc, then we're going to we'll probably find yet another man takes over the yellow jersey, because so far in this tour, Marie took it after prologue, then Le Mans snatched it back on stage one. Sorensen got it after the team time trial and held it through till he had that terrible crash going into Valenciennes. Marie got it back on his long break for Le Havre, and Le Mans got it back on stage 8 and had it ever since. He's going to have to work to try and catch those men in front and preserve that yellow jersey, though.
Eurosport.
And these are the leaders that Le Mans has got to chase down. The gap 5:35 we understand at the moment, and Fondriest is dropped off this group. We can't find him now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 there. I was not surprised. Fondriest seemed to be sitting there rather hanging on for grim death last time we saw them. There are now only 4 men, all experienced climbers. So in between that group of 4 men and that main pack, we have Jan Nijmans at 2 minutes, we have Chozas at about 5 minutes, but we also have Fondriest just drifted off the back of it, and we understand that Herrera is in some difficulty in this group coming up the hill to catch up with those leaders. Charlie Motti undoubtedly has been the revelation. I think if Charlie hadn't caught them on that drop down off the Col du Soulor, I'm not saying that others couldn't have persisted with it, but he certainly provided the firepower, and the way that he collected the tail enders on the way down that had been dropped off the previous 17-man group, kept with them for the short while, or they kept with him, and then he dropped them off the back, was absolutely remarkable. So Charlie's in superb form. This often happens with bike riders, by the way, you people at home who don't go racing on racing bicycles, but I can tell you that some years you could punch holes in walls. You're just going so well, and you get a few days when nothing hurts, and although cycle racing is very painful, nothing seems to hurt. Rondon on the left-hand side, Caratou in the middle. Caratou won't force the pace because his teammate's up in the front. Gilles de Leon won't either because he's got his Helvetia teammate Pascal Richard up there. So quite a lot of blocking tactics coming on at the moment. Le Mans will have to do something about this. He's lost his 2 Z-men who are up there trying to work to close it down. And the riders now grabbing drinks off the people on the side of the road, the bottles of water being handed up. Because plastic bottles today makes it so much easier to drink and then throw away without causing any problems. And of course the other useful thing about water, you can chuck it over your head as well. So the Ariel Steer rider in there, I think that'd probably be a Lely at the moment, but that's a guess on my part. I could get it totally wrong from this distance. The riders here pounding up the hill, and the gap at the moment still as it was before. They've really got to go some. And it's coming down all the time. There were about 30 riders there when we counted before. Certainly 1 or 2 are beginning to... The pack here thinning down one by one. So we've still got that little group in the front splintering. Now, can Chozas get up there on his own? He's certainly making a determined effort about it. Winner of the Stage of Italy in 1990 as well. He won the Ruta del Sol in 1990. He's a very strong rider, this fellow, Chozas. And, whoops, sorry about the picture breakup. The rest of the pack recognise they're going to have to do some work there. Once, of course, a very enormously strong team. The way in which they dominated the Tour of Spain gave them a tremendous sort of encouragement when they came into this race, but of course I think it probably sapped their strength just a little bit on the Tour of Spain. Le Mans, let's have a look at him now. Well, he's only just pushing the pedals round like an Automan, really. He doesn't seem to have any zip in that movement. He's lost his 2 teammates as well. So that's not very good. You see a fair number of the onsays up there, 1, 2, I've just spotted another one of them. So it could well be that they're going to just sit there and not do anything to try and pull back that that effort by Chauzas to go across the gap. And here he is, Chauzas, and he looks like he's going to reel in one of the riders up in front of him. And the first one to drop off the back of the pack was Nevin, so get him in a minute. Chauzas, who took stage 13 in the Tour of Spain this year, when he was ahead of Chiappucci and Lejarreta in very strong form indeed, climbing up this hill. And Chauzas finished 10th overall in the Tour of Spain when Once had that enormously strong ride in the Tour, dominating it. Well, he's going to pick his man off very quickly indeed, and we're up there with our 4 leaders. And still Charlie Motte is the one ploughing away at the front. Charlie's been on the front pretty well most of the time when we've had the cameras on him, but LeBlanc is coming back to help. We're getting very close toward the top of this climb now, and LeBlanc is accelerating on the climb. LeBlanc's starting to go for it, and here Chauzas is just picking up Jan Nevens, who would try and get onto his wheel as he drifts across, hoping to sit in there and take some encouragement and look down and concentrate on Chauzas now. Someone have a bit more effort. He will have heard that Chauzas is on his way up, so he's done a sensible thing. He's probably just eased back a little bit on the pace, so when Chauzas comes up, he can sit on his wheel. So they're getting very close to the top of this mountain now, and these two men, can Nevens get back on the wheel of Chauzas? They've still got a long way to go, and the riders are near the top.
Eurosport, the Tour de France. This program is brought to you by...
Nevens being caught by Chauzas. Up in front, more reaction because Luc Leblanc decided to go for it. That's going to make it difficult for those riders to get on because Luc Leblanc has gone steaming off toward the top of the climb. Charlie Motte here, not being able to hold his wheel. Pascal Richard with him, and what disaster. Andy Hampson has also been struggling as well, so we've got a great big split amongst these 4 men who really climbing the hill quite comfortably early on, but the reaction of Luc Leblanc, no relation to Mario Leblanc, the director of the Tour de France. And look at this chap, you try to ride in that distance, these lads have got to ride. Oops, and the gendarme asking our camera to get over and stop running down the people. They certainly do press out and come out of the pavement edges, but of course the riders like to try and take the shortest possible distance and will cut in there, and the roar of the motorbike certainly helps that one. So these 2 riders then, that's Charlie Motte in front and Pascal Richard behind. We're back then with the main pack. And it looks as if Carry2 is asking for a drink or for a time check on... oh yes, he's looking for a drink. He wants a drink at the moment. Carry2 desperate to get some water, because the team cars can't always get up to him at this point. They certainly won't allow them to get alongside this bunch here. And Carry2 desperate to get some liquid down him. But there's nobody on the side of the road with a plastic bottle of water. Just encouragement of the people running up, shouting at them. And only 1 kilometre to go now. And people have been paced as ever, painting the names of the riders on the road. They've got Museo's name down there. Well, he's going to need more than painted name on the road for it to make him go faster, because he's one of the big hitters in the sprint, and certainly he's going to struggle. Eric Carry2 gone through. There is Greg LeMond now. So the... riders now just ahead of them, and this is the one, Luc Leblanc, that's going for it. So he's now going to be something like about a couple of minutes ahead of Greg LeMond on the road. So not only is he yellow jerseys, begin to push some daylight between himself and Greg LeMond as well. Are we going to see a new yellow jersey at the end of the Tour? Mind you, at the end of the stage, mind you, when he goes down the other side, I would have thought he would want some help from those chasers to go away like this, to get some King of the Mountains point, which is what he's going to get. Luc Leblanc on his way up, because this being a first category climb, there'll be the massive points of 30, 26 and 22 at the top, in that order right the way down to 2 points. We had a quick glimpse then of Fondres, the ex-world champion, hanging on for grim death, desperately keen to stay in there. So they've had some tremendous rise today. This little group of what was originally 4 men, and then they've had people come up and people go off the back, but certainly at Col du Soulor, Pascal Richard, Andy Hampson, Luc Leblanc and Jan Nevens set the fast pace. They were the 4 that caused all the damage earlier on, and this is the group now. Though the Once team has come up, that's the Once team car with the little man with a stick, because it's an organisation for the blind in Spain, and there you see the little symbol that on the bonnet, that's the Once symbol of the man with the stick. And there, Le Mans still 1, 2, 3, 4 back from the front. He's got De Leon up alongside him. De Leon came into this race not in the best of form, but he's climbing quite well now. De Leon, who was the best young rider last year, finished, if memory serves me correctly, about 14th overall, and all France was looking for his performance this year, but he hasn't been too well. He's had to have a lot of treatment for some mystery virus illness, and here they are still ploughing up that hill, and a good view there of Miguel Indurain. So Indurain is still in that pack together with Delgado. Rondo is there as well, so the Benesto squad have got 3 men, but Delgado's already suffered earlier on. He doesn't seem to be at the front of this group now. They're letting Rondon do all the work. And Rondon is an extremely good climber and a very good domestique. We've seen him do this before in the Tour de France, try and work for his teammates at a constant pace. Carretou just sitting in there, and this is why he won't do any attacking. So Charlie Motti is up. Charlie now lying second on the road. Luc Leblanc having gone for a flyer over the top. Charlie's got a bottle in his back pocket and one on his bike, so he's got plenty of liquid available. Well, of course, he might have drunk the lot as far as I know, but at least he's kept bottles in his pockets and ones on his bikes as well. Well, his legs are going a bit slower now. He took off, and there we are. I told you about the painting on the road, and it certainly is a sight to see and to be out there. And of course, the spectators have to come out. They camp out the night before. They set up their tents and their mobile homes because the road being closed so long in front of the Tour. If you want to get up the mountains, you've either got to go up the crack of dawn overnight or just camp up there. And there we are, over the top of the climb. That's the Col du Soulor. 4 hours, 41 minutes and 35 seconds is the time that he's got the top. These are the 2 chasers. Luc Leblanc has gone. Lulu has taken that one. And out sprinting there is Pascal Richard, and 17 seconds is the gap between Luc Leblanc and those. Now then, we're down into Spain on the descent down the other side. No time for the customs facilities. They just whipped their way through this one. The old Tour de France crossing the borders now, as it always has done, roaring along, and we're in Spain. The race then heading absolutely almost due south down into Spain. Had a little bit of a curly bit as it started to go up the Pyrenees. Just went round to the west and came back again. Looked like a bit of a snake on the map, but now heading down into Spain. Glorious sunshine and super roads at the moment, so there's every opportunity of these riders on the descent to go down a great rate of knots. But when it's wide, the pack can also chase out. Sensible chap, you see, he's decided to start eating on the descent because you've got a sandwich wrapped in paper. The first thing you've got to do is to get rid of the paper, unless it happens to be rice paper that you can eat as well. And sometimes they do wrap the sandwich in bits of rice paper that enable you to eat that. But he's got the goodness out of it, having a bit of a chew. And over the top of this hill then, something like 24 kilometres to go down into the finish. Whoops, easy on the brakes. Oh, that's not an easy one. Well, we're going down to finish at Jaca for the first time. We've not had the Tour de France into Jaca before. It's in Spain, it's heading down. Look at these 2 drop. Well, Charlie Motti is a bit of a devil when it comes to dropping down mountains. We might well see him taking a flyer down here like he did when he came off the top of the first big climb of the day, the Col du Soulor. Clipping the corners, they just can't allow any extra leeway at all. And many of the riders have been up in the Pyrenees and the Alps practicing, but not all the riders have the opportunity of doing it totally. So for some of them going down these mountains, they're going to be doing it blind and at great rate of knots. In fact, Andy Hampson was saying the other day, he's got one of those little calculators on his bike, which is also a speedometer, shows the distance, and some have a pulsometer on it as well. But in fact, on some of the mountains, he touches 90 kilometers an hour. He says one day he'd like to touch 100 kilometers an hour. Just imagine that on a bike dropping down those sort of speed. That's well over 50 odd miles an hour, close on to 60. And these riders here just throwing caution to the wind. What a long gap this is for the main pack coming up towards the top of the climb. The Benesto sharing a drink there. Rondon's still doing the work. Carretou up there with him as well. And Indurain looking very comfortable indeed. Greg LeMond on the far side at the moment. There is Laurent Fignon. Fignon is in good form. Show that's just 1 kilometre from the top of the climb at the moment. So the pack here then have got plenty of men between them and the 2 chasers have gone over the top trying to pull in Luc Leblanc. And still a long way for this pack, though, as Chauzet's closing up on the top. So there's a long way for these people to go, and we've got to watch running to see what the time is.
Eurosport, the Tour de France. This program.
And whilst that other pack is still climbing up the descent, as had its effect on our lone leader. I'm not surprised. Motti is the man who really drops like the proverbial stone, and he's now caught Luc Leblanc, and Richard has gone onto Leblanc's wheel. That seems to give Motti a chance to open up a small gap. Motti is dropping off the top of this hill, throwing complete caution to the winds, and the others aren't getting anywhere near him. Look at that, streamlining on the way down. The motorcycle's got the wick well and truly turned up on his accelerator here, got his old twist grip round, just going to get more power than the motorbike. Whoops, but he can't go too far, you see, because these lads want the line. So our cameraman on the back, and we've known in various races that cameramen and motorcycles have gone over the top. Look at the speed of Charlie. There he goes. Absolutely superb. This is a great thrill, I can tell you, dropping down a mountain. The worst part is getting up the other side. When you come down like this, of course, half the trouble, here we are, having a little look down at the old speedo. Can't see it too clear at the moment. I think the cameraman's having the shakes, because he could do nothing else but poke the camera and hang on for grim death. The descent, Pascal Richard's caught up and gone past Charlie. He seems to be dropping a bit faster than Charlie. But Charlie's getting his slipstream. Richard has a little look back. Of course, this is not the place to go hitting stones in the middle of the road or potholes, so they've got to keep an eye out in front. The hands are well away from the brakes, in fact right in the centre of the handlebars, right near the stem. And now Richard has gone back to his brakes because he's going to drop into Charlie's slipstream. Luc Leblanc is a little bit off the back at the moment. There he is. Well, he got himself... well, Mr. Brian Montgomery here, my timekeeper, said he's over 6 minutes, and he's right. In fact, it's going up now to well over 6 minutes. That is tremendous at the top of the climb. And we've now got the official clock going as well, in addition to our watches here and the commentary point. And still Rondon is working away at the top. At the front of this field, that rider from the Benesto squad is burying himself, and looks like Indoran has come up onto his shoulders as well. But still, they are a long way from catching that break with that 24-kilometre drop down the other side. This may be the opportunity Charlie looked for, and if Luc Leblanc can stay with as well, he could get the yellow jersey. What a turn up for the books. Le Mans is unable to chase this down. He's still in the middle of the pack, and they're going away from him. Or is he coming out? No, 1, 2, 3, 4 from the front. Le Mans, who is an extremely fast descender, if he sticks with this lot, it's the only chance he's got is to go down, and Bunyo's coming up as well. Now, Bunyo has turned into a jolly good descender as well, as he had to have some treatment to his eardrums a couple of years ago, because the troubles he had going downhill, he couldn't preserve his balance. In fact, they said Bunyo used to descend off the mountains like a priest with a cassock in full flight. There we are, confirmation, 7:13, back to the group. That is tremendous. They've gone away on that climb all the way up. The leaders, Luc Leblanc, Andy Hampston, Pascal Richard and Charlie Motte, 7 minutes, 13 seconds. Now, I know that Le Mans is an absolutely amazing descender, but he's got to go for it now. And Luc Leblanc's got back again. Charlie Motte is there, Pascal Richard. So they got rid of Andy Hampston, and they've got rid of Fondriest, they got rid of Jan Navens. So we've got lots of riders splattered between these three and the main pack. And it's all downhill at the moment. It hardly really flattens out, and the pack are coming down in hot pursuit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20. I was not doing a countdown for the PA, I was counting the riders, which looks like about 24, 25. So they've held themselves more or less fairly well together on the climb, not lost too many. But where, I wonder, on that climb were people like Gert-Jan Tunisa, who's looking for the King of the Mountains jersey. There, Le Mans gone onto the front. So the Hampson was 1 minute down on the top of the climb, and shows us 5:24. The main group then way back 7:14 was the time of the main pack over the top. And the peloton is even further back than that. So there's another group of riders behind this pack which came over the top in 7:14, and they're way off now. So there's a lot of people who haven't made it in this little group now are going to find themselves even further out of contention. I didn't see Delgado too far towards the front last time. Certainly Indurain came over the top in good form with Rondon, but Delgado would be quite capable to stick with this little group. Le Mans lying second in the string. Some of them are extremely good when it comes to going downhill. Others just can't get down fast enough, so they one by one sort themselves out and take the line Well, they seem to be slowing down a little bit at the moment on that descent. They've got to start pedalling. They weren't pedalling like these two are. And Andy Hampson with Fondres. Now, Hampson's got a good wheel here because I think Fondres has recovered. He'll certainly be okay on the downhill bit. They've got to now start chasing down the men in front. So Fondres here. And Hampson on his wheel. So Andy Hampson has got to work well with Fondres to try and get back up again. In the Tour de Suisse, he finished third overall yet again. He was second in one of the mountain stage, Andy Hampson, third on stage 4. He was just coming into jolly good form. He loves the Tour of Switzerland. In fact, he's won it a couple of times, and he looks upon that as a race in his own right, but it certainly seems to have done him a lot of good, but he's lost these 3 up in front. Gasparov then, Cyril Guimard come up to have a word with his man at the front. They must be rather pleased with this performance. Cyril Guimard, a very famous rider himself some years ago, as are most of these directors sportifs. Some of them have very good histories of performances, and they know what it's all about. So he's given the word. I suggest what he's told Luc Leblanc is to hang on to these two and let him do most of the work, because I think he's going to do a bit, but not too much. On this downhill bit, Motte is the fast descender. Richard is also going like crazy, because Richard is a man with practically no nerves when it comes to throwing a bike about, because he's an ex-world cyclo-cross champion and 5-time Swiss cyclo-cross champion. Hampson on his way down, Fondres putting in a few revs. This is a hell of a chase, isn't it? Going down 60 miles an hour, and the motor car's whizzing by on the outside. Not a place for the faint-hearted. So different sort of faint-hearted here. If you've been watching the sprints when the big men have been thrusting for the line and jumping and bouncing all over the place, when you come to descending down mountains at 60 miles an hour, you also have to be pretty brave and bold and resolute. Oh, beautiful picture. Allowing the riders to take all the lines. The team cars dropped well back. The motorcycles dropped well back. And there you can see behind the riders, that little group of motorbikes containing the pressmen and the commissaire, travelling commissaire to keep an eye on things, and the official vehicles behind, and the team cars, and some of the press tucked in as well. Oops, there's a little problem. Gillian put his arm up. I think he wants a wheel or something. Le Mans is not chasing. Le Mans is waiting for other people to do the work. Gillian is in the centre of that pack, dropping across. Now, does he want to talk to his team car? Is he in trouble? And two men prize themselves off the front of this little one. And if you've been down a pothole somewhere in the mountains, let me also remind you that we don't have the PDM team in this race, because they've all gone back home with some strange virus, and all of them were now eliminated from the race. So by the time we started the stage the day before yesterday, they were not with the race. So if you're looking for any PDM jerseys, just come off holiday and say, where the hell are they? They've gone. They had 3 men in the top 10, and that's made a tremendous difference. And a lot of people said it handed the race on a plate to Greg LeMond. But the Tour de France, nothing is ever certain about the result until we hit Paris at the end of the 22 stages and the 3,940 kilometres they're going to race over this distance. Charlie Motti going for it. Look at his legs whizzing round. And see the little white mark between his legs and his shorts. They get so brown and bronze with the sun. The shorts just ease back a bit. You can see the white. It makes you see riders in the new. They're looking rather strange. They've got very bronzed arms and very bronzed legs, and nothing in between that catches the sun at all. They never have time to go sunbathing. You spend all the summer racing the bikes, and the winter recovering from it all. Hampson. Whoops. Oh. Fondres wanted him to go for Motorola team car come up. Jim Okovitz giving his man some encouragement. And Fondres still sitting on his wheel. Well, there should be some reason. I think these two might well catch the other 3 in front. We'll have to wait and see, though. Some time to go.
Eurosport, the Tour de France. This program is brought to you by Eurosport in association with Isostar, the fast-acting isotonic thirst quencher.
And still this downhill burst of speed from the 3 leaders, the 2 chasers, trying to narrow that gap that we had a quick look at, where Andy Hampson and Maurizio Fondres Of course, Jan Nijvers is not far behind. He got Schothers collected him on the way down as well, and the rest of the pack came over the top of the mountain, some 7 minutes 13 seconds down on these two. So Luc Leblanc, if he can keep this going, there's no way really that the pack, we've seen on the flat, you've been watching our coverage of the Tour de France, how the pack, when it gets together, one of the big teams goes on the front and running in on something like the last 20 kilometres, a breakaway of maybe 4 or 5 minutes has often been pulled back by the concerted effort of the pack. But things are different now. We don't have teams with all the riders in, but not surprising to see Bunyo going for this one. Bunyo easing himself off the front because he's always, every day, being prepared to have a go towards the end of the race. And I think now that Bunyo's decided the time has come to try and leave this little lot and set off and try and pull back the leading group. But he's not going there. About 15 kilometres to go for the leading threesome. And the 15Ks, it's pretty well flattened down now, and the gap, we understand, is growing. In fact, it's now 7 minutes and 30 seconds. 7 minutes 30. Absolutely surprising that Le Mans can't wind that chasing group up to go even faster, but these three, look how well they're working together. As fast as one takes over, another one moves through. What's this? That's Pascal Richard. Charlie Motte having a word with his team manager, who's just come up to tell him what the gap is, because the riders get some information but not as confident. The fact they're going away, this will really put some effort into them. Charlie Motte then, his director sportif, Bruno Roussel, came up to have a little word with him. And one of our cameramen taking a close-up view of the riders. Whoops, don't get in the way, we want some view. Thank you. Luc Leblanc on the far side. And he's still working very well at it. When he came into the scene in 1987 as a new pro, he won, well, second in the French Championships, and then 1988 in the Paris-Nice he was 6th and was 4th in the Dauphiné Libert. In 1989 the Critérium International 11th and 14th in the Grand Prix d'Amérique. That was when he's suffering with his knee trouble, but now all is over and done with. 15, now they're 1 minute and 25 seconds, so it's 1:25 to those two chasers between the leaders, and we also put the watch on at 15 Ks to go and to see if we see the main bunch as well. So 1:25 to the two chasers. So the that was my watch at the little kilometre, 15 Ks to go went 1:25, and there seems to be some official recognition coming up that it's now around about 1:05. Well, that's not what it said on my watch, but perhaps they know something I don't know. Right, the chasers then working hard, but this little bunch aren't doing much at all. So the only way we're going to get, I think, a change in the scenery at the front is probably if Fondries and Hampsten can catch them. Rondon, his work done on chasing down that leaders. We're certainly not going to see the Castorama team do any chasing at all. There's Fignon sitting back and letting everybody else do the work. He must be extremely pleased with his team this year, because Thierry Marie, who did so well to win the prologue time trial, and then on that long break from Alistair Le Havre when he set the record for the greatest break, or sorry, second greatest break ever, when he covered some 234 kilometres, you know, the second greatest break in the history of Tour de France, took over the yellow jersey and held that for a couple of days till Le Mans got it back in the time trial, the 73 kilometre time trial, as one would expect with Le Mans being a specialist of that. But Thierry Marie, of course, second in the Grand Prix National a few years ago, battled on, but lost the yellow jersey to this man, who's now taken the front of the pack. But he's got Castorama sat on his wheels, so that's not going to help him at all, because they're not going to assist in the chase. And see how he just free wheels, and so Le Mans then gets Rondon to come through on the other side for Benesto to have a go at it. Benesto must start to work for this one. Indurain is in there as well. Perhaps they're a bit concerned about Delgado, because they can actually ring the changes so much, the Benesto team, with some strong men up. Le Mans is putting his hand up. Is that for attention, or just have a word with his team at the back, his team manager? We'll have to keep an eye on Le Mans. Arm up like that. Is his tyre softening? Have a look at the back tyres. Bit difficult to pick up from this height off the helicopter. The two Benestos having a chat. Le Mans has got up alongside them. And hello. Some discussion as to who's going to lead the chase or not. So Bunyo said, I'll have a go. No, Le Mans has no help at the moment. Nobody here seems to want to chase him down. Well, you've got the yellow jersey, Greg. You should go after it. I'm not sure that's what they're saying. And why should we do much more to help you? We'll hope you close the gap a little bit, but they're not going to help Le Mans too much, I'd have thought, because their day will come as well, because we've got some enormous big mountains tomorrow, and a lot of these other riders with him now have all been round about 4, 5, 6 minutes down. In fact, this morning, see, Delgado was 4 minutes 30 down on Greg LeMond, into around 2 minutes and 17 seconds as well. Bunyo's 3:51. Of course, their day could come tomorrow, just so they've seen Luc Leblanc get away, so they're not going to do any chasing. You see Eric Carretou sitting on Le Mans' wheel. He's not going to do anything to help either, as Roger Jay, the team director sportif of the Z squad, comes up to have a word with his man. And Le Mans now looks like he hasn't got any help at all from Zeds. We're going further down the back to see if there's somebody else there to have a chat with. Or does he want some attention to his bike? Le Mans gone back to the team car. He's still in the pack, and he's drifted way off the front to the back of the pack. That's quite remarkable. He can't direct affairs from there. How amazing. Well, he's let Bunyo get on with it. Now, what can happen if they start attacking Le Mans' yellow jersey, as they well might do, particularly Indurain and Rondon? If the Benestos see Le Mans gone off the back and they can go a bit quicker, they can start to stretch the legs. This is quite surprising that Le Mans gone so far off the front. And so, yes, Benesto started to plough along. Now, that may be a tactical thing on behalf of Le Mans, though, to see if he could pretend that he was in trouble and make them go quick and just sit on a wheel at the back. But that is asking for trouble, because if he does split, he's got to go across the split on his own. Very strange tactics indeed. And look at the Benestos start to go. They really are rocketing along now, and Le Mans, who's drifted off that. Look at the string. They put the hammer down. Benesto really going for it. 3 of them up there. Oh, Le Mans, you've got to watch out for this one, because this could be extremely dangerous as they start to put the hammer down. My goodness, it's Delgado, Indurain and Rondon there, and Bunyo's prepared to have a go as well. Now, is Le Mans going to come up there? No, Carretou won't help with the chase because his teammates up in the front. Nope, it doesn't look as if Bunyo, and has Bunyo gone? He has. Bunyo slipped off the front. Delgado helps himself to some water. Well, this is interesting.
Eurosport, the Tour de France. This program is brought to you by
And still Benesto putting the pressure on the front. Le Mans trying to work his way back up to the head of this pack, and these are the riders they're chasing after at the moment. The 3 men still in the lead, with Andy Hampson and Fondrest just over the last. We had 1 minute 25 seconds down underneath the 15 kilometre to go banner. Unfortunately, our camera's moved away from the chasing pack because I pressed the button at the 15k to go, and at the moment it's gone 7:30, and we haven't picked up the banner, unfortunately, with the pack behind. They decided to stay with his little leading group of 3, but for my money, a lot of interest at the back there, with Le Mans trying to work up a bit of speed amongst the bunch, and here they are. Le Mans still sat fairly well off the front, but Benestos have started to work. So whatever he did, whatever he said, by going back down the pack, seems to have had a useful bit of turn of speed, and the Benesto decided they've got to do something about it. So they've left Le Mans in the main pack. So there we go. And there we are. Ah, there's the 15 kilometre to go, and my watch now shows 8 minutes and 2 seconds. So in fact, it would probably be just around about 7:50, I would think. It might even be less than that. 7:55, I would think, the gap. That's all totally unofficial on my part. The guess I have it is that it's 7:55. Certainly it's 8:02 when I look back there. And Le Mans really is in trouble. He's going to lose that yellow jersey because unless he can get this lot to go even faster, Bunyo going through, I see somehow or other he's got to try and get this pack to go faster. But nobody there. The Zeds aren't with him at the moment. They all seem to shot the boat. Poor old Adley Crabsol is in all sorts of trouble. Le Mans nipped off the front. He's decided he's got to do something about trying to pull them back. So he's actually having a little go there. Indurain, so Jean-Francois Bernard's made his way back up there as well. So the Benestos are in strength, and so is Bunyo. So Benestos looking like they could plough this one along a bit. Delgado is further back in the pack, so they've got to work for him. I can't see where he's placed at the moment. And there is Rondon, always a very strong helper for the Benesto squad. They've got so many good domestiques, Benesto, that can come up when the occasion is required and to drive this bunch along. And that's just what they're doing. So they're the only team really who've got anything to do with trying to work together. And here we are, the nice move. Fondries has recovered off the top of that climb. Hampson with him as well. And these are the 3 men. Last time check at the 15 kilometre to go point, we had them at 1:25 on these 3. well, 15 kilometres. We're now probably, must be getting towards the 10 kilometre to go point. So, in fact, it's impossible to get 7 minutes back in something like about 10 kilometres. So there's no doubt about it. This man LeBlanc has done an absolutely tremendous piece of riding today. Very opportunist, and that is what the Tour de France is all about. We're starting out with 198 riders. Everybody comes into there. They know what their job is. They're domestics, they're mountain climbers, they're sprinters, whatever they might be. They lead out men. But the day comes when you have the moment to go for it. And here we have Fondriest, the best of the Panasonics at the moment, and encouragement too from his team. Up they come, because they'd like him to get up there and get in the action. So Walter Planckaert, one of the many Planckaert brothers, another great sprinter rover in his day, and Andy Hampston comes from Columbus in Ohio, although he's now living in Colorado. Boulder, Colorado is his home. And the Helvetia team car moving up. So plenty of the cars going up to encourage their men. The director sportive of the Helvetia team, Paul Kuchley, well known for the way in which he is a great helper to his team. So the time gap at the moment, Mr. Brian Montgomery here is keeping all the information. It's 2:20 to Hampston and Fondriest, 5 minutes to Chozas, 6 minutes to one man on his own, must be Navens, and then 7:30 to the group containing the Maillot Jaune. So they're now coming back to about 7:15. So it's yo-yoing up and down. We're getting conflicting time injection here. I made about 7:50 at the 15 kilometres to go mark, and the officials now make it 7:30. So the activity by Greg LeMond is certainly having some effect, but it's too late in my book, because they're getting down towards the back end of this race. And Charlie easing back a little bit. I wonder, of this little lot, if they come in together, the way we saw Charlie sprint yesterday, perhaps he's going to try and get himself another stage victory. As far as LeBlanc's concerned, I don't think he'd matter whether he finishes second or third on the stage. And there, Fignon undoubtedly tonight will be smiling, and so will this man, Eric Caratou, because both teams have got men up in that break at the moment. Laurent Fignon, what a great character. Undoubtedly one of the stars of the Tour scenery over the years, come back in good form. It's nice to see Laurent Fignon up in the front. So there, with 4 kilometres to go for this little group of 3 men. That's something, as it's still downhill. It can't be much more than about 5 minutes of racing before we get to the end of the stage, and then you can eyes down looking for the sprint. Let's hope all 3 get down there, that nobody punctures, because if you puncture this sort of speed, they'll get a spare wheel quickly, but they will just lose out for first, second and third place. So the gap then still 2 minutes 20 back to Hampston Fondriest. In fact, that's been growing, because at 15 kilometres to go, I got it down as 1:25. So it would appear that these 3 are still going away from all the chasers. That's the Castorama rider on his rally bicycle heading away. And up in front, this is Helvetia La Suisse rider. And look at Le Mans. At long last, he's recognised the danger, but it's going to be too late, Greg. Benesto's beginning also to help him on that one. And at 5 kilometres to go, we saw the 4 kilometre banner before. That's I got it 59 seconds, so they've got a whole kilometre to do. That's going about 1:10. So yes, it is 2 minutes back to that, or just over 2 minutes to Hampston and Fondriest. Le Mans now begin to go some. Did he get a hand sling? Look, Rondon put his hand out. He's got to give it a 6-day hand sling to bring him through. Le Mans on one of his fiberglass bikes. You can see there that sort of web roundabout where the seat tube and the top tube and the chainstays meet. He hasn't got these aluminium lugs on it. It's made in a special way, so it's all in one piece. Up there at the moment, Jean-Francois Bernard has recovered as well. Pedro Delgado's up there. Rondon's up there. They've got some cracking riders at Benestos, and they're the only team that can really try and hound this one down. And Bugno is helping them for the Chateau d'Ax squad. Haven't had a chance to go back down the line to see if there are any other Chateau d'Ax riders with Gianni Bugno. It didn't look like it when we picked up some of the pictures earlier on. Oh, it's going up a bit now. Of course, the trouble is, it's been dropping down for around about 20 odd kilometres, and then you get these slight little rises going into Jaca for the first time the Tour de France is going to finish here, and the Spanish crowd giving these lads a good cheer. They'd much rather seen one of the Spanish riders from the Once squad, or the Amaya squad, or the Benesto squad up in the lead, but at the moment that's not so. We've got here on the front Frenchman Luc Leblanc, then Pascal Richard from Switzerland, another Frenchman, Charlie Motte, just behind him. Well, the French have been decrying the fact that they haven't had any strong riders in the Tour. When it came into the Tour this year, they were all talking about Fignon was the only one, and oops, there Charlie's going for it now. Charlie's decided to try, oops, that was, oh, that caught them, didn't it? Snap the legs. You little devil, I don't know. The false move there by Charlie to sprint, and then he's got himself in a bad position now, though, because the other two riders are going to sit on and watch him. Having seen, no doubt, if only on television, how he got away yesterday, these two are going to have to be very careful with the bold Charlie. Well, Luc Leblanc would rather press on and save time rather than bounce backwards and forwards and play cat and mouse to see who's going to win the sprint. So Luc Leblanc has eased himself up. They've let him go as well. And so that is a bit of a difficult one. Luc Leblanc steamed off, and Pascal Richard's got to go after him. And Charlie, who started it, has recognised it's his turn to jump up on the wheels. But Luc Leblanc was accelerating slowly. The other two have jumped up very quickly indeed to get to him. So they're starting the sprint way out, these three. Because I suppose that what they've got to try and do is see who is the strongest. And by these sort of little dummy bursts of speed, just to see if anybody else can come up to them very quickly, or if in fact you can stay out there. Luc Leblanc on the front, then Pascal Richard, then Charlie Motte. Charlie is now in the right place. That was a good move early on. I thought he got himself wrong. He's going yet again. Charlie steamed over to the right, and he's back on the brakes and freewheeled. They've gone across to him. He keeps sussing them out. What super tactics. But if he does that once too often and gets to the wrong place, they're going to jump him coming around the other side. So he's looking left, looking right. What he's got to try and do is stick to the barriers on one side, stick to them on the right-hand side. Then they've got to come on his left, but he's left Luc Leblanc to come through. And I'm surprised there that Pascal Richard didn't jump the other side of Charlie, because the tactics often is to go the other side, leaving the man in the middle that's just come off the front as the little block and stops the fellow in front from coming across to you. Under 1 kilometre to go. Who's going to get this one? Charlie and Motte on the back. Pascal Richard in front. Then Luc Leblanc. Well, Luc Leblanc won stage 5 in the Midi Libre this year. Is he going to add another one to his success? Charlie Motte just 2 days ago won that stage from Quimper to Saint-Herblain. Pascal Richard just up in front. On a stage in Tour Romandie this year. All of them victors in one form or another this year. Which it's going to be. Motte is still in the best place. Well, this must be the longest kilometre in their life for these three riders. It's dead straight down here, and there's no way they can take twists and turns and jump. They've just got to watch each other, and Motte's still in the best place. Luc Leblanc keeping it on the white line. Well, he should have got to one side or the other. There we go, and they've got to start winding it up now. Charlie Motte still at the back. Luc Leblanc deciding that a few seconds bonus is better towards the yellow jersey. He's got to start and go for this one on the left-hand side. Pascal Richard's beginning to accelerate. Luc Leblanc has blown it. He's dropped back into third place. Pascal Richard's out the salon. Charlie Motte starts to pump his handlebars and come off his wheel. Charlie switches to the left, and Richard's on the right, has blown it. Charlie gets his second stage in succession, allowing, of course, yesterday that we had a rest day, but it will count, though, for 2 on the trot for Charlie, and there are not many riders that can do that. And Charlie Motte then taking the stage from Pascal Richard. Luc Leblanc in third spot, as the rest of the field now coming in with the 2 riders here coming down in toward the finish. This is Maurizio Fondrest, and in there as well is Andy Hampsten. So sorry about this picture breakup. There's the main pack. It started to get itself back together again, and more action yet to come.
Eurosport, the Tour de France.
These are Andy Hampsten and Maurizio Fondrest. On the left-hand side of your screen is the time that was the winning time for Charlie Motte, 5:15.52. On the right-hand side, the clock is showing the difference between their finishing time and these riders coming into sight. Because the interesting thing is that this morning, when we set off on the start of today's stage, Luc Leblanc was 4 minutes 20 seconds down on Greg LeMond. Unless something's happened in there, in that main pack, the chances are that he's going to take that yellow jersey off the shoulders of Greg LeMond. 2:02 was the time then for the 2 riders across the line, and we've now got Fondrest ahead of Hampsten, taking on 4th place. Hampsten then into 5th place. Well, Chozas had collected Nevins, and it looks like this field might well have collected Chozas as well, because it's getting bigger by the moment, and the attempt by Chozas to stay away might well have been doomed. Here we go, an action replay of that sprint. Luc Leblanc easing himself back. In fact, he finishes a couple of seconds after Charlie Motti hits the line for his second successive stage victory in the Tour de France this year. And of course, he won one last year as well. No wonder he's absolutely delighted. Well, this lot aren't going fast at all. Look at that, they're on the tops of the handlebars. This is absolutely amazing Tour de France. I've not seen anything quite like this for years now. The way in which the riders went away. We changed yet again on the yellow jersey. Le Mans must be cooked down there. He's been unable to get a chase going. The Benestos have had their own little battle with Le Mans. They've allowed Luc Leblanc to get an absolute hatful of time, and he would have leapt over their riders, because Jean-Francois Bernard was 3 minutes 11 seconds down on Le Mans this morning. And here we are then, confirmation of the results so far. We've seen all those riders come in, Motte, Richard and Leblanc, Fondries and Hampson in that order, and still that main pack is yet to come. So Benesto amazingly in around this morning in third spot, 2 minutes 17 seconds down. Jean-Francois Bernard fourth at 3:11. They had Delgado eighth at 4:30, and they haven't done much to chase down the break either. Perhaps they think they can sort out Luc Leblanc tomorrow. And here we are. He's been having a few troubles today, though. Luis Herrera, he was off the back at one time, but he seems to have got back in again. He's got Fignon on his wheel. It's that little slight uphill bit that we saw earlier on that was testing the legs of our little breakaway group. And so right now then, for the Benesto squad, easing himself at the front. Miguel Indurain deciding that perhaps might be worthwhile going to try and get himself up into sixth place. We haven't seen Chozas at all and Nevins, so I presume they've been hauled back into that main pack, and it's Indurain who's trying to go for this one. Indurain having a go now for sixth spot, and perhaps a few extra vital seconds that he gets back over Le Monde. Wonderful style is Indurain, looking back now to see where the rest of the pack have got to, and he's got a useful lead, but is it enough then? Indurain second this year in the Tour of Spain, and last year winner of that classic San Sebastian. In the Tour de France, he had a stage win last year when he finished 10th overall. Indurain's really going for this one. Behind him, there's quite a gap opened up, a useful move. The Spanish will love this one. Indurain, who won a stage in the Tour de France way back in '89, can do no better than sixth this time, I think. But it's certainly going to help him on his quest to move up. He was third this morning to Greg LeMond. Abdul Japarov has been blown right back out. We were discussing whether he could get up the hills. He tried the first one in fine style, but he's blown it. But this man is now off. And why didn't he go earlier? Well, I have to ask myself. Indurain, we recognised and cheered all the way down this tree-lined avenue now, because LeBlanc's going to take the yellow jersey. The time now has gone well past that Le Mans has any chance of preserving it. Indurain then has stolen a march on Le Mans. He started out this morning 2 minutes 17 seconds down on Le Mans. He's going to close up at this rate of knots, probably. There we are, 1 kilometre to go for Indurain. He'll certainly get closer to Le Mans. He won't save 2 minutes 17 seconds in just these final couple of kilometres, but he's showing what a beautiful stylist he is. What a great bike rider too, and a tremendous talent. And oh, Chozas was still there. My thousands of apologies to Chozas, because we hadn't had him on camera. And what a great ride. Then he's going to take the sixth place that we thought that Indurain was after. And Chozas out in no man's land. He's done a great ride to come on in there. Eduardo Chozas from Madrid, and won a stage in the Tour de France last year. Let's see what's going to happen now. He's still coming in, and the pack is some way behind him, so his time is 6 minutes and 20. We've got a shot now of Le Monde, who's trying to slip the pack as well. So the field behind spread all over the place. That's the last time Greg LeMond's going to be the yellow jersey. And Indurain is certainly hanging on then. He's going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th place for Indurain. LeMond is in the main pack. He's certainly lost the yellow jersey, although the time has come down since the last time check. It was over 7 minutes at one time. It's going to be very close to 7 as Indurain comes across the line, and the rest of the pack behind having their own little sprint without the sprinter specialist, and they're just going to be inside the 7 minutes as far as they're concerned as well. Le Monde certainly has lost the yellow jersey, because this morning Luc Leblanc was 4 minutes 20 seconds down on Le Monde. He's taken it off him now convincingly. That's yet another change in the general classification. So Jaca has seen a formidable stage over two enormous mountains, and the Tour has been turned upside down on its ears yet again. Well, tomorrow maybe the same things might happen, because a lot of riders will have sore legs after the ride, and tomorrow we're going to cover the stage right the way through to the one from Jaca to Val Louron. It's 232 kilometers, by the way, and we're going to be on air a long time tomorrow. There we are, looking down in that bunch. There's Bugno, there is Le Monde. And if you want to watch the Tour de France tomorrow, we're going to be on air from around about 11 o'clock in the morning to 11:15, round till 12:45. That's Central European time. We've got more Tour de France from around about 13:45 Central European time to 16:40. Those are, of course, the approximate time. But we're going to have a hell of a lot of Tour de France for you tomorrow. My good friend Alan Pipe will join me in the commentary box tomorrow to watch the action. And after today's stage, it's going to be, I'm sure, a tough one for all these riders. So, Luc Leblanc then was over the line at 6 minutes 54 seconds ahead of Le Monde, and therefore, as he was 4:20, he's taken the lead, according to my statistician Brian Montgomery, by 2 minutes and 34 seconds. But Charlie Motti's got the stage, and he's got another bouquet of flowers to send back home to his dear wife. Well, they won't travel that far anyway. But his wife said he's always optimistic, and he's been optimistic this time, hasn't he? Charlie taking the victory bouquet yet again. What a cracking... Well, we're just doing a check on the general classification. It's popped up there. That's the actual results, isn't it? We've got all that little lot. Indurain 6:49 back, and Charlie giving us the backdrop to the whole thing. The King of the Mountains jersey then going over onto the shoulders of Pascal Richard, so he got himself some award for the day. So Pascal Richard taking the spotted jersey. See what's happened in the past. We've seen de Klerk in the spotted jersey, but of course now we're getting to the really big mountains. It's time for the people to come up. There's so many points at stake up there that he's up there. So back at home, his wife Claudia, I think, and his little daughter Roxanne are watching the transmission and giving a little cheer. And his hobbies are ships, architecture, and motor cars, and I think climbing mountains as well. So Jaca in the foothills of the Pyrenees now shows us the general classification. Leblanc in the lead by 2:33 from Le Monde. Abdou Japarov, they've still got him there at 3:24. Now that's surprising. I would question that, because I didn't see Abdou Japarov coming that main pack at all, and I'm not so certain if that is true, because he wasn't. If he did get in that pack, they never gave us a shot of him, and a thousand apologies if he was in there, but we were looking down, we couldn't spot that green jersey, and I would put a question mark over that from the graphics. Mind you, it's very difficult for us to spot everything from our commentary point here, but nevertheless, there in the yellow jersey is the man who rode his heart out today, Luc Leblanc, for the Castorama team, taking the yellow jersey. Another change overall in the general classification. We've seen so many changes in this tour, and many of the journalists, many of the commentators were saying that Le Monde had got it on a plate. Well, this man had other thoughts about that. So Thierry Meunier took it in the prologue stage. Le Monde got it back. Sorensen then held it for 4 days till he cracked his collar. But now they've changed the general classification. I thought as much, that Abdou Japarov's come off it. And so Motte's in third. Good one on Charlie. Fondrest is fourth. Indurain in fifth place. We've got a cracking tour. Do join us tomorrow for all our television coverage of the race from here in Jaca all the way to Val Louron. We've got 2 Hope category climbs. Those are the ones that go over 1,710 metres and 2,115 metres tomorrow, and a couple of first cat climbs as well. Some tough riding ahead then for Luc Leblanc, who now is in the yellow jersey of his Castorama team. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage of Eurosport, the Tour de France. David Duffield saying goodbye.
Eurosport.